Bulls Nation, today we had a game against the Toronto Raptors and it was a pretty solid game if I do say so myself. A few scares in the second half, but overall the Chicago Bulls, through all of the thick and thins, through all of the major ups and the major downs, in an important game has managed to survive. And I say survive, and I'll tell you why I think the Bulls survived a little bit later on. But again, in an important game, an important time for the Bulls, we managed to pick up a very important win for this team. So without further ado, let's talk about the Chicago Bulls versus the Toronto Raptors in this video. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a Chicago Bulls versus Toronto Raptors game reaction. As you can see, I'm in a different room than what I previously recorded in, and from time to time you're going to see me switch in between rooms because again, not every room I can go in and use at any given time. That's an unfortunate circumstance, but again, enough about that. The Chicago Bulls had a very important game today, a game that could have potentially decided our season, and once again we are holding on for dear life with a string. We are holding on to this season, and with everything that we've got, we're going to try and make the best out of it. But the Chicago Bulls, again, one more loss for this team and our season is over, and this game has allowed our season to go on for a little bit longer. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls today. Were we good? Were we bad? Was this win vital, or in the end, do you think we're still not going to make it? Again, it's always up for interpretation. Of course, you want the Chicago Bulls to do well, and obviously the positive thing to say is that the Chicago Bulls should win this game. But unfortunately, or get into the play-in tournament. But unfortunately, we are still very much deciding and hoping for the Washington Wizards. In the end, because we won this game, and we won this game 114 to 102, we have done our part so far with 2 games remaining of the season. We've beaten to the Toronto Raptors, and the Washington Wizards lost yesterday. And I can't remember who they played, but they lost yesterday. But everything changes with 1 win or 1 loss. If the Washington Wizards win their next game, we are out of the play-in tournament. If the Chicago Bulls lose their next 2 games, we are out of the play-in tournament. This is what it's come down to. This is the defining factor. This is the end-all be-all for the Chicago Bulls. This is our opportunity, and it all lies with the Washington Wizards. So let's just make this even clearer for you guys. The Chicago Bulls' next 2 games are against the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks. Both teams still have something to play for to try and determine the standings. So in that game, is those 2 games, they're going to try very hard to beat the Chicago Bulls. But let's say we win those 2 games. What happens then? We could still make the play-in tournament if we win both of those games. But we need to rely on the Washington Wizards to lose against the Cavs and to lose against the Hornets. Those are the next 2 games for the Washington Wizards. If they can lose both of them and we can win both of our next games, then we have the tiebreaker against the Washington Wizards. We'll have the same record as them, and since we've beaten them twice this season and they've only beaten us once, we could go ahead of the Washington Wizards. That is going to be a very big thing, and of course miracles can still happen. And once again, if you're asking for my opinion, I'm telling you right now, I believe the Chicago Bulls will finish 11th. I don't think we're making the play-in tournament. I think it's unfortunate that it's had to come down to this. In the end, we should have dealt with this much earlier than what it needed to be, and now we've got our backs against the wall. But all we could do as Chicago Bulls players, fans across the world, is beat the teams, win our next 2 games by hook or by crook, by 1 or by 50. Win the next 2 games, because in the end we would have done all that we could to try and make that play-in tournament late on. And maybe the Washington Wizards win their next game, maybe they don't. In the end, it is pretty much up to them how our season goes if we win all of our games. So that's what the Chicago Bulls focus should be, and I hope that we can have that mentality and we can have the fight to go and win our next 2 games, no matter how difficult they turn out to be. And I do think both of them will be pretty difficult for the Chicago Bulls. But how did we play today? It's a game of 2 halves. I truly believe that. And that's what I said by the Bulls survived today. Not necessarily because we were the worst team. In fact, I think we were the better team. Of course, the better team won today. But the second half compared to the first half was an outstanding, astonishing difference. I could not believe, again, we've seen this all season, but it still somehow manages to surprise me how this team manages to change their style of play, and how easily other teams, when they decide to get their groove going, take it to the Chicago Bulls. They do it with ease, because in the end, this was nearly a single-digit game. The Raptors nearly came back. Once again, we always let these teams come back, and this is another example. We let the Raptors come back in this game. We let them have a sniff, and in the end, that nearly cost us a lot in today's game. Our season could have been over today because we would have given up yet another second half performance. But the Bulls didn't do that, to be fair. But again, when you're up by 20, you don't like to see the lead go all the way down to single digits before you react. It's as simple as that. The bench, not bench, it doesn't matter. This Toronto Raptors team was weak. No Pascal, Kyle Lowry, they didn't have their best players. So we should have been well and truly comfortable in this game. We should have allowed players like Devin Dotson and Makoka and all of those bench units, those bench mob that doesn't get minutes, to play in the fourth quarter, because we needed to be that comfortable. But again, we allowed it to get away from us a little bit, and I don't like seeing that. But again, I'm saying this in a win. So I guess whatever you guys decide on that factor, I'm saying this when we've won the game. And at the moment, all we could really say is that we needed to win this game, and we won the game. So again, if you're happy about that, great. I truly believe that's a good thing to be happy about. But if you're upset with the performance, I don't blame you either, because I don't think the second half performance was tremendous. I thought it was really poor. But again, we did win the game, and sometimes that's all that matters, especially at this end of the season when we have to win all of our games. Any means necessary. We've won the game. So I'm very happy that we won. Of course, it gives our season a little bit more hope. We're delaying the end of our season pretty much another game, and hopefully we can make it all the way and win all of our games, and we'll just see what happens from then on. But let's talk about what really changed the game, or what really made the game what it was. I thought we were out-hustling them in the first half. I think we were getting a lot of second chance opportunities, offensive rebounds. We turned them over. They struggled to make shots, and we were just, overall, we started to heat up. Coby White made some good shots. Devonte Green made some good shots. And overall, Larry Markkinen had a great shooting night as well. We started to heat up a bit, and they couldn't bounce back. In the second half, we kind of dwindled down a little bit. Not many players actually helped us in the second half. It was almost like a static performance where not much really happened. But again, we managed to overcome a very bad second half to win the game. So fair play to the Chicago Bulls. But again, that's how I felt this game was going throughout the entirety. We had some really good players step up in today's game. Coby White stepped up very nicely in today's game. Obviously, you had Zach and Vooch, you had Devonte Green, you had Thaddeus Young, you had Patrick Williams, you had Larry Markkinen, and all these players stepped up in a big way for the Chicago Bulls today. And it was balanced. There was a lot of scoring in today's game, and a lot of people had their fair share of the bulk of the scoring, and that was great to see as well. And that will be put into the individual performers, and we're going to go into that real quickly right now. So first one I want to talk about, Coby White, who had 17 points, 5 rebounds, 10 assists, and 1 steal. Coby White was pretty good in today's game, a double-double. Again, he's been good for, I would say, a month now. Ever since he started for the Chicago Bulls again, I think he's really stepped up and made sure that position is his, at least for the end of the season. Whatever happens next season is whatever happens next season, but he's kept his position and he's made it his own. So I'm very happy with Coby White. And again, this is another game that really made me feel very happy that he's playing the way that he is. And again, we've won a fair share of games with Zach LaVine and without Zach LaVine due to Coby White's performances. He is stepping up in a big way, and he is that third guy, I reckon. Zach LaVine had 24 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. Zach LaVine, it's a good game from Zach LaVine. This is not the best game I've seen him play, and it's definitely far from the worst I've seen him play. Again, he's an all-star. Even when he feels like he's not part of the game or he's not contributing, he still manages to find a way to put out these stats, because that's what all-stars do at the end of the day. Even when they're struggling, they find ways to contribute. And I don't think Zach LaVine struggled, but it definitely felt like there were other players that were doing a lot more than what he did. And it shows in the plus and minus as well, but I'm not going to talk about plus and minus. I don't really trust that stat all that much. But again, Zach LaVine, solid night in the end. You really can't complain about his performance in today's game. Nikola Vucevic had 16 points, 16 rebounds, and he had 6 assists as well. Once again, a pretty strong night from Nikola Vucevic. There were a few moments in the game. Again, I don't think he had a lot of playing time. Never mind, he had 32 minutes. My apologies on that. But again, he was solid today. He really was. He was great. And again, he's one of the best rebounding big men in the league. I believe he's top 5. He's doing his thing out there. And this is just another good game from him. And the 6 assists is probably the biggest part. The 16 points is great. But the 6 assists, I love when we have a big man that is able to facilitate for everybody else. It takes the pressure off of the guards, and it also allows the guards to kind of make off-ball plays. And that's something that needs to be learned throughout the entirety of this team. We need to learn off-ball plays, and we need to learn how to run plays in the post. And when we're able to do that effectively, we will become an even stronger team than what we are now. And we're not that strong now, but we have glimpses. And we could be a much stronger team when we figure out how to make plays in the post and allow Vucevic, allow Thaddeus Young, allow Daniel Tice, allow even Larry Marketing if he's here, allow these players to run plays in the post, because I think that will be very big for this team. Players like Nikola Vucevic do it, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook. It's not out of the norm for post players to make plays in the post, but we need to do it a lot more in my opinion. Then we obviously had Thaddeus Young, who had 10 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists. This man had 6 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists in the first half. I really thought this could have been the game for his triple-double. He couldn't get it. He could not get his triple-double. In the end, I'm sure the win is all that matters for him, but I mean, for a player that's played for so long in this league, and again, this is by far his best playmaking season, I would have loved to see him get a triple-double this season. And maybe it's not to be. Maybe next season will be his season. But again, it's a solid game from Thaddeus Young. I can't really complain about a game like this when he's impacting in every single way. Defensively, offensively, playmaking, rebounding, defense, everything of the norm for Thaddeus Young. He's had a very consistent year in my opinion. Patrick Williams also had 9 points today. I'm not going to talk too much about Patrick Williams. I might make a video about him once the season is over. I'll make a video about a lot of these guys once the season is over. But I do have a few things to say about Patrick Williams and what I believe he could do next season. We're going to have to wait and see. I really think Patrick Williams can have a terrific career here. And this is not a bad game from him either, by the way. And then we've got Larry Marketing, 20 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, or 2 assists. He also had a steal and a block. Larry Marketing played a very good game, a very, very good game. And he did it off the bench. He did it with limited time. And I think he had one of the biggest impacts, if not the biggest impact in today's game. So again, this is a very strong night. And this is a night where we needed a bench contributor to step up to the occasion and to play and to score. And this is, again, 20 points is not probably what I expect from Larry Marketing coming off the bench consistently. But he needs to be around that mark. He needs to have around 16 to 18 points off the bench per game, because he should be that type of caliber offensive player. We shouldn't be seeing last game or a few games ago getting 2 points in a game, and then in the next game he gets 20. Again, I just think he's better than that. Maybe that's my own faith kind of kicking in now. I think he's better performer than 2 points in one game and 20 in the next. I just don't want him to fall like a role player, and that's kind of the projection he's heading down at the end of the day. He's becoming sort of a role player, but again, it has to be consistent. It's no one else's fault but his. But this was a tremendous game, and that should not be taken away from him. He should get a lot of praise for today's game, and in my opinion, this is a game that I would like to see more often from him, and hopefully he can stand up and deliver with the last 2 games of the season. We don't have much time left, but any game will count for Larry Marketing, and if he has another strong game, it's going to count towards my opinion of him. And the last player I'm going to mention, Devonte Green, had 10 points and 1 steal. I'm going to mention him because I don't think I've really talked about Devonte Green ever, to be honest, and he's been a good addition to this team. He reminds me of a David Nwaba type player. He's energetic, he's defensive minded, he's athletic, and he's gonna hustle. He's gonna make you know that he's there. He's gonna be that type of player. And again, he's not gonna be the type of player that will get you a lot of points. He's not gonna be the type of player that will get you a lot of game time. But he's definitely a player that I think is the type of player we shouldn't be letting go of. Because in the end, if someone gets injured, who do you put in? Devonte Green. He gives you the energy. He gives you ability to score. He's athletic. He has all the capabilities to be a fantastic bench player on this team. So in the end, I think that's vital. I think he should stay here. I think he should be a player that the Bulls consider keeping around. I know he's 28 years old now, 29 years old. I'm not sure of his age. He's not young, that's for sure. I think many people have that presumption about him, but he's not a young player. So I like his energy. I like his will to win. I like his hustle. And I don't think we have enough of those players around. We have Troy Brown Jr., who's someone that could be that type of player. But Archie doesn't get many minutes. And that's why I kind of like Archie as well, even though this season has not been the best from him. But Devonte Green is someone that I think we should keep around. And this is a very strong game. He's had a lot of strong games recently. And this is just another one to add to the tally. So another good performance, in my opinion, from Devonte Green. And that is the roster. Again, Saldo played. You had a bunch of other players played. Garrett Temple played as well. Didn't have tremendous games, which is why they're not being mentioned. The must improve, to be honest, I am going to pick Garrett Temple. It's not really by much. But again, when you have around 25 or so minutes. I mean, how many minutes did he actually play? I think Garrett Temple played around 27 minutes and he only had 2 points. I think even as a bench player, when you're playing that big of a, I guess, part in the game, when you're playing 27 minutes, you need to find your way to impact the game and score. I don't think Garrett Temple was terrible. Again, I never think he's terrible because I just think he's a hard worker, and hard workers often don't play terrible basketball because they have the effort there that most other guys on the team won't have. But I just feel like when you're playing that much amount of time, you need to do more. You need to impact the scoreboard, and you need to find a way to make your presence known. And he does that more often than not. And again, it's not just the scoring, it's the playmaking, it's the rebounding, it's the defense and the effort. All of that plays a factor, and that he does bring. He brings the effort, he brings the defense, but it's just the scoring for this particular game that I think he could have done a little bit better. And my player of the game, through a lot of controversy, it's between Larry Markkinen and it's between Kobe White, and I am going to give it to Kobe White. He had a double-double today. He had a 17-point and 10-assist game, I believe. I mentioned that before. And I just thought he was the best player on the court. I thought when Kobe White was on the court, we were winning by more. We ended up winning the game when Kobe White was on the court. That's truly how I felt. I felt the same way with Larry Markkinen. If I could give a duo player of the game, I'd give it to both of them. I think majority of people would probably give it to Larry Markkinen, and that's good. And by all means, I think Larry Markkinen had a great game. And if anybody wants Larry Markkinen to be player of the game, then I absolutely 100% think that you should give Larry Markkinen the player of the game. But for me personally, I just think a double-double for Kobe White. It's been a while since we've seen that. He's played very, very well recently. He deserves the praise that he's been getting. And also, I just thought he made the biggest impact in today's game specifically compared to the other team. I thought he was better than Zach. I thought he's better than Vooch. And I thought slightly he was better than Larry Markkinen today. So that is what I'm going to say in that retrospect. Now, the Bulls' record, I believe, is 30 and 40. I think that's our record. And in the end, I'll show it on the screen. I apologize for not knowing. Again, I don't have a computer or anything at the moment to really just to look off. But again, a strong night for the Chicago Bulls tonight. A very important victory that we've had. And hopefully this can be one that we see more often. We need to keep seeing wins. We need to beat two really important teams in our next two games. And this is the last two games of our season. It could be, or this could be the last two games of our regular season, and we go into the play-in tournament, and hopefully we can make an impact there. And I truly believe, and I mean this with all my heart, if we do make the play-in tournament, again, miracles have to happen. We need to move oceans, push mountains for the Chicago Bulls to make the play-in tournament. But mathematically, it's still possible, and anything can happen in this league. We've already seen it. But if we make the play-in tournament, I have a strong faith and belief that we could make it in the play-in tournament. We could beat teams in the play-in tournament. We've done it before. We've beat teams like the Hornets before. We've beaten the Pacers. We've beaten the Wizards. Any other team that we come up against, I am feeling slightly confident we could enter the play-in tournament and do some damage. I truly think we could get the 8th seed when we make the play-in tournament. But again, that's obviously a Chicago Bulls fan having faith in his team. But let's focus on getting there first. And how we get there is by beating the Brooklyn Nets, which is our next game. We need to focus on that. Forget about the Bucks for now. That will come in time. We will know what is decided by then. Tomorrow, we're going to have to wait and see about the Washington Wizards when they verse the Cleveland Cavaliers. Hopefully, Cleveland will give us a favor, and hopefully they could beat the Washington Wizards. But the Chicago Bulls need to focus on the Brooklyn Nets. They need to focus on beating the Brooklyn Nets. I don't know if Kyrie will be back for that game. And if he is, it's going to be a major blow for the Bulls, because that is three really great players, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving, that will play in that game. That's basically their team. It's as simple as that. Their team's going to be back. And that's going to be very hard for the Bulls to overcome. But regardless of whoever is playing, that's not important. We need to act like that's their best team playing. And we need to go out there and perform at our best to match theirs. And hopefully we catch them on an off night. And that's exactly what we're going to need to go in and pick up a pretty important victory if we can get it. But again, one loss for the Bulls ends our season. One win for the Wizards ends our season. That is the situation we're in. Miracles can happen. I still think we're 11th. We're going to stay 11th. We're not going to go any further, or we're not going to fall any below. We're not going to fall below. But that's what I believe is going to happen for this team. We're going to have to wait and see if there can be miracles for the Chicago Bulls. And I really hope there is one, at least one left for us. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Have a wonderful and safe day. Sorry if I'm not speaking as loudly as you'd like. Again, I don't really know how the sound's going to be. But again, we're going to have, we deal with what's put in front of us. Anything can be done if you decide to do it. And I wanted to make this video now. I didn't want to wait. And I made this video now. So hopefully you guys understand. Have a wonderful day. Take care and peace.